Good afternoon and welcome to Locked On NBA Daily. On today's show, the vibes are good in Golden State and in Milwaukee, but which team is closer to a title? Plus, do the Knicks need to get more out of Karl-Anthony Towns to compete for a championship? And why the Rockets, Mavericks, and Timberwolves all have the same problem. Let's jump in.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily. However you're tuning in on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app, thanks for making us your first listen every day. I'm Wes Goldberg, and today we're talking about some teams that might need to be pressing the panic button. We'll look ahead to the Timberwolves, the Mavericks, and the Rockets and what they all have in common. We're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts. I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast. He's a senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt?
I thought my Wizards were going to get it done. I thought it was going to happen. And then Tyrese Maxey stole it from him. But still, Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George, let the young guys play. Wizards are good.
Sarr dunked on Joel Embiid early in that game from the Locked On Bulls podcast. He's also a Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report. It's Haize.
The Wizards are not good. They're not good at all. Now, they will be good in a few years, but they're not good now. They're fun to watch. They're not good.
We are.
How dare you, sir?
We'll be talking about some teams that are also not good here in a second. Let's start with some teams that are good. We're going to start in San Francisco, where the Warriors blew out the Clippers 98-79 last night. To hand the Clippers their second blowout loss of the season. But on the other hand, the Warriors improved to 4-1, and according to Locked On Warriors, look every bit a contender.
This is not a great Clippers team, and they're not a threat to the Warriors if both squads are healthy, in my opinion. This is the back nine of a back-to-back, a Clippers team that should be fresh and ready to go, and the Warriors really controlled the whole thing other than one ugly stretch in the second quarter. So,
light work.
Right, and nobody
needed.
had to be spectacular for this to happen. All the Warriors need to beat a lot of teams is everybody to be pretty good. And that's a good place to be. Now, when you get the Denvers and the Oklahoma Cities and the San Antonio Spurs of the world,
Man,
it's going to be tougher. It's incredibly encouraging that, dare I say, every time the Warriors have given a sincere effort, they've been great so far this year.
Matt, I'm showing that clip. I see you laughing. What do you find funny about it?
All we need is for all of our guys to be pretty good and the Clippers to play like absolute cheeks. And then this Warriors, that's all the Warriors need is everyone to play well. Look at this box score, man. Like, look at this nonsense. Quentin Post is a plus 34 in this game with 12 points. Steph Curry has 19. Jimmy has 21. This game is a lot more about the Clippers. It's nice. 4-1. I'm sorry. I know Dubs fans think I hate them. Look, it is possible the Warriors can be a contender, but it is too soon, man. It is too easy. This is more about, good God, Clippers. You have a team on a back-to-back, even at home, even early in the season. You go in and you stink up the joint like that. 18 points on 17 shots for Kawhi. Go plant some trees, man. Like, what? It is way more about the Clippers. This Warriors team is fine. Like, they're good. They're good, and they can get there, but I'm not buying this defensive performance. I'm not buying the bench contributions. I'm not buying this style of play for them to win. You think you're going to survive playing gritty, tough, physical defense with the cast of what movie, Haize?
The Wild Hogs.
Wild Hogs the entire season? No way. I am still selling the Warriors hype right now.
See, the problem is that both this game should have been called the Dust Bowl because everybody's old. Everybody is old. This is just a bunch of are sponsored by Ben Gay because I'm sure a lot of people needed it after this game. But I mean, I believe in the Warriors more. I'm sorry, and not just to disagree with Matt, but like, yeah, this Warriors team is old. Make no mistake about it. But it's not like we didn't see parts of this last season after Jimmy got there. And they've added some reinforcements. They're actually playing Jonathan Kuminga now, who did have a bad game, albeit against this Clippers team after I said he was going to go for 40. He played terrible. I don't know. I just believe in the Warriors more because I think if you're looking at this team and the best players on the Clippers, I trust Steph to be better more regularly than most of the Clippers roster. I trust Jimmy to be better once the playoffs start more consistently than I would anybody on the Clippers roster. Dre, yeah, it's a little bit of a wire call. Quentin Post, we'll see how Quentin Post goes as the season goes on. But The Warriors just have more players that I would trust to be able to go further. Am I calling them a championship contender? No, but I think they're a really good team.
No, look, this is not a Clippers or Warriors thing. You're not going to drag me. You could drag me to hell faster than you could drag me to betting on the Clippers versus any serious team in a playoff series. This is more about just like, look, the Warriors got the win over the Nuggets on opening night and on the Nuggets opening night, right? That was a great win in overtime for a Nuggets team with a lot of new pieces that they're trying to implement here. And I'm just like, there were like Jokic makes a runner that he makes in his sleep, and that's an L. And I am not sold that this team is capable of going toe to toe full force. Wes, the team that this actually reminds me of is the 11 to 2013 Celtics. That team when it was like KG and Pierce were just old as dirt, and they were just veteraning their way through games and grinding teams out by just being older and more experienced, and push the Heat to the very brink in 2012 before LeBron James's Game 6. I could see that happening here, where it's like, look, the Warriors are definitely not bottom tier. They're definitely not mid tier. But I cannot get them into that like top tier, absolutely a contender like Charlie is absolutely sure that they are.
So we had two primetime games last night. The late one was the Warriors dismantling the Clippers there. The first one was the Bucks taking care of business against the Knicks. Giannis goes off for 37. They are 3-1 right now in the Eastern Conference. I think a lot of people had questions about the Warriors going into the season. A lot of people had questions about the Bucks going into the season. But Matt, in our group chat, you texted this question. I thought it was a really good one. Which team is closer to a title, to competing for a title between the Warriors and the Bucks?
So this seems crazy. I could hear everyone being like, what? I get it. I understand. Remember the conference thing. Okay. So like, which team is better? The Warriors. They have Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, right? But the Bucks have to go through an Eastern Conference that right now, like they just went into Madison Square Garden and big boy the Knicks. It's pretty good, right? They have a winning combination, which is Giannis and shooters. They haven't gotten Kevin Porter Jr. back yet, who should not be in the league, but is a good player. And their path is a lot more open. Orlando is cheeks. Detroit does not look good. The Hawks are the Hawks still. So like the Bucks path here is way easier. Like their biggest competition right now for being hot is the Miami Heat, right? Versus the Warriors. And it's like, oh, look at the hot start. And look, they beat the Clippers, renowned and trustable team that they are. Versus like, all right, you got to go through the Nuggets. You got to go through the Wolves. You're going to, we'll see what happens with the Lakers. Luka Doncic has been insane. You've got all these teams at the top. And then you got the end boss, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, do you want to bet that the Bucks can get past the Cavs? Or do you want to bet that the Warriors can get past the Thunder? I'll take Bucks over Cavs.
Yeah, I mean the point about the conferences makes it makes all the difference in the world in this conversation. Like the Bucks, just because of being in the East, like we've seen it happen. Wes's team has done it before. You get hot at the right time, you can go to a finals, you can go to Eastern Conference Finals in the East by having the right player and the right combinations of players around those guys. Giannis and shooters, that's a great combination. Warriors are a better team, but they're still really, really old, man. And like you mean they got to face off against the Thunder? I know the Rockets haven't looked great yet, but the Bucks have the easier path. And so if you're betting odds, you bet on the Bucks because of the Eastern Conference. Now, if we're talking about a conversation, who is the better team? It's the Warriors. By far, it's not even close.
One thing I like about this Bucks team, they're shooting more threes than they did last year, and they're still hitting them at a really high rate. I think they led the league in three-point shooting percentage last year. They're definitely near the top of it. They're making 39% of their threes right now, and they're shooting almost 38 per game, and that's really big when you're trying to space the floor around Giannis. And to Matt's point, you still haven't gotten some of your players back yet.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, we get to the playoffs, like it comes around in April, and you're going to be like, okay, Matt, you get Doc Rivers, and I'll take Steve Kerr. And I'm going to be like,
the doc of it all.
The doc of it all. It's always such a problem.
The doc of it all. Not everybody is enjoying the same early season success as the Bucks and the Warriors. We're going to talk about who needs to be pressing the panic button after this. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Daily is brought to you by Quo. One of the tools that help make a huge difference for business owners is Quo, formerly Open Phone. It's the same great business phone system that you've heard me talk about before, just with a new name. And here's why it matters. Every missed call is money left on the table. When every customer conversation counts, you need a phone system that keeps you connected 24/7. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications. It works right through an app on your phone or on your computer, so no more carrying two phones or relying on a landline. I love how Quo, formerly known as Open Phone, lets your team share one number and collaborate on calls and texts like a shared inbox, so no customer gets left hanging. Their built-in AI agent is a game changer. It can answer after-hour calls, capture leads, and keep business moving even when you're off the clock. Whether you're a solo operator juggling everything or part of a larger team, Quo makes it easy to stay responsive and professional. See why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly Open Phone. Get started for free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedonnba. That's Quo, QUO.com/lockedonnba. And if you've got an existing number with another service, Quo will port them over at no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Today's episode is brought to you by Rippling. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS, that's sad. Software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. What I love about Rippling is how it removes the bottlenecks and busy work that slows teams down. Everything from onboarding to payroll to IT access runs automatically and perfectly in sync. It's seriously simple to use. It gives companies one source of truth for their people, their data, and everything they touch. Whether you want to run your entire HR, IT, and finance operation as one, or just fill the gaps in your software stack, Rippling can do it all. And right now you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/lockedonnba. Learn more at Rippling, rippling.com/lockedonnba. That's rippling.com/lockedonnba for 6 months free. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA Daily your first listen. The best way to support the show is to subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on your favorite podcast app. We're going to do a panic meter segment here, guys. And I want to format it with not like 1 through 10, 1 through 5. I'm just going to give you 3 options: chill, track, or panic. So are you just chilling, not touching the panic meter? Are you tracking it? Are you monitoring this trend here with maybe a finger over the panic button? Or are you just outright pushing that panic button right now? Let's start with the Knicks. They looked good in the first half of their loss to the Bucks last night. They went up by as many as 14 points in that game, but then they let the lead slip in the second half, and they didn't get any help from Karl-Anthony Towns, who continues to struggle, scoring just 8 points on 2 of 12 shooting in the game. For the season, guys, he's averaging just 17 points on 35% shooting so far. Here is Locked On Knicks with more on what's going on with Cat.
I don't really want to use injuries as an excuse. I do think some of it is like when the Knicks are playing at their best offensively in the early portions of this season, they get into like drive and kick. That's kind of what I find myself wondering. Like, how do you marry those two worlds with this offensive system and this flow that I really, really like, but at least right now feels like it excludes like your second best offensive player. But not only that, as we often talk about, one of the 12 or so most talented offensive players in the NBA, and you're just not going to win a championship if you're not getting the most out of Cat on that end of the floor.
So, Haize, one of the things that Mike Brown came in and promised to do was get other guys involved. Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. You've got new pieces coming off the bench. You've got Deuce McBride there. But is he maybe doing it at a risk of pushing Karl-Anthony Towns too far out of the offense here?
Yeah, I mean, there is a risk of that. I think it'll all even out. Like, I get it, they lost 2 games in a row, but they won the first 2 before. They sit at 500 on the year. There's no reason to be panicking yet. This is a new team with a lot of new pieces that hopefully are going to help them in the playoffs. So incorporating those guys early on, I think Cat's going to be able to find his offense. You go back to the Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson pick and roll, he's going to be able to find his offense. So there's a risk of it. I'm not too worried about it as it stands right now. If we were 15 games in, maybe, but I think it'll all even out sooner rather than later.
I am ice cold, chilling. I hate that word. My teenager is constantly like, why do I have to do stuff? I just want to chill. And I'm always just like, Life continues to move. I sound so old. It's very irritating. Nothing makes me sound older than my response when he tells me he wants to chill. But you have to chill here. There's no problem here. They beat the Cavs on opening night. Let's flip the results. Let's say they lose on opening night to the Bucks, and everybody's like, "Uh-oh, Mike Brown? Question mark?" And then they beat the Cavaliers last night, and you're like, "Oh, hey, just knocked off the best team in the East, right?" You flip those two results, and this looks entirely different. They're gonna be fine. Cat's gonna be fine. They'll figure it out. The other thing is that we get really caught up on whenever you're a team and you're good and you're trying to make progress, you're trying to go from good to great. If you're trying to do that and you're changing components to do so, there is an adjustment period. Your results are not going to be perfect. And that's what we're saying here with the Knicks. There's zero reason to be worried. This team looks very much on track to have a painful loss in the Eastern Conference Finals, just like they were 3 weeks ago.
Good for them. So we're all chilling here. I think we just know what the Brunson Cat pick and roll, pick and pop looks like. And now you've got Mike Brown trying to get some other things to get on that menu here. So we're all chilling on that. Let's go to the Sacramento Kings, who blew a 10-point lead to the Thunder last night to fall to 1-3 on one hand. The Sacramento Kings just blew a 10-point lead. On the other hand, it was against the OKC Thunder. Where are you, Matt, on the panic meter? Chill, track, or panic?
Yeah, I'll go panic. So there's just like a lot of rumors that they are active in the trade market again. They're out on Carter completely. They're looking a lot of like Keon Ellis is available if you call. According to people I've talked to, like if you call, they'll have the conversation about Keon Ellis, and that's a guy that Kings fans love. When you start talking about trading the plus minus guy who everyone loves, that means that there's a disconnect between like what the team is envisioning and what the team's results are. And I do not like it when that happens, because I'm like, you gotta like actually take the results of the games. That's important. Like what happens on the court matters. All the behind the scenes stuff matters too. But you can't go too far. This roster never made sense to me. Sabonis came back and like this first game back for Sabonis, right? So it's like it's okay, it's fine, but not a good start. Blew that lead late. I just think that the most likely result here is that DeRozan gets traded, Sabonis gets traded, they're blow it up by midseason. Like that, this screams a trade deadline detonation, or worse, Haize, that they do they're in all these talks, they're close, all these rumors, and then they don't do anything because they decide to wait until the summer and they just whimper out. I hate it when teams do that, but that seems likely for this Kings team.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be another move coming for the Kings. I'm tracking it. I'm not like I wasn't too high on the Kings. Like, what are we panicking over? The thing to panic over is this Sabonis request to trade. That's the thing to panic over. The record as it stands now here, they're right around where I thought they'd be. Like, they're a team that puts up some good numbers. They look good at times. Like Zach LaVine's on a tear. That's all fine and dandy. But you know, this is going to be a team that struggles to win, because when you have Zach LaVine, you have DeMar DeRozan, when you have heavy isolation, like they're towards the bottom of the league in assist percentage because it's so much isolation ball. That's just we've seen it. That's so easy to guard now when that's the largest part of your diet as a team offensively. So I just think this team is going to continue to struggle, and we'll see if Sabonis requests a trade. That's when the panic button hits.
A lot of isolation ball for a team without an elite isolation player. With all due respect to DeMar DeRozan, as Matt has pointed out a million different times, that's not necessarily the trigger of an elite offense there. I agree with Haize. Like, I don't know how much you can panic, because it'd be one thing if this were the Thunder, right? And then they're having these kinds of results to start the season. Maybe then you panic. But the Sacramento Kings, I don't think expectations are very high. But if they're going to start trading pieces off, whatever's left of the light the era might be gone.
I got an idea. What about DeRozan to Charlotte?
What about DeRozan to Charlotte?
Okay, so hear me out, Haize. Their entire thing is that they don't have anybody to like be the adult in the room. Like last night, they were competitive in a game versus the Sixers. Like they were there. They were gonna not say the Sixers, but they were gonna win that game versus the Heat. They were up. They were handling things, and then LaMelo spends about 5 minutes just doing the stupidest stuff imaginable. They need an adult in the room. Like they need an adult in the room very badly. If you put DeRozan, does DeRozan make LaMelo and Brandon Miller better, Haize?
That's the thing. I don't know, because like I get it. I get what you're saying here, but the problem is that you put DeMar in that room. He's taking the ball out of LaMelo's hands. He's taking the ball. It's not just about like he's him coming there and provide veteran leadership. Like if you want DeMar to be on your team and be effective, you're going to have to give up a lot of your offense between Brandon Miller and LaMelo and those guys to acquiesce to him. Like we've seen him in San Antonio defer a little bit. Make no mistake about it. We've seen him defer. I don't know if Charlotte has the infrastructure where DeMar will come in there and defer to any of those guys.
I'm kind of okay with that. I would like to see a situation where LaMelo does not feel like he has free reign to do whatever, because he's so good when he plays within a system, and he just needs somebody to be like, hey, no, there's 18 seconds on the shot clock. We did not need the step back 3-pointer from 35 feet. Like that's all. You just need like a little refinement, and they would be pretty good. I think there's a lot of promise there. But like a Miles Bridges for DeMar DeRozan, I think probably fixes a lot of problems for both teams.
I'll believe that somebody can get the ball out of LaMelo Ball's hands when I see it at this point.
Exactly.
The Rockets, Mavericks, and Timberwolves all have the same problem. We'll tell you what it is and which team is in more trouble after this. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Daily is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that can help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. I love how the Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights, and corrects your form, making every rep safer and smarter. The swivel screen is a game changer. You can go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training without missing a beat. And the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. You get workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level every week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA Daily your first listen. The Locked On Podcast Network has a show for every team. Check out Locked On Warriors, Locked On Bucks, Locked On Knicks for more on today's top stories. Looking ahead to some of the games tonight, guys. The Rockets play in Toronto. The Mavericks host the Pacers, and the Timberwolves host the Lakers. Those three teams, the Rockets, Mavericks, and Timberwolves, are dealing with questions at point guard. Of the three teams, Matt, which one needs to address the point guard position the most?
I think it's got to be Houston. You can't let this be your skip. Like, you just can't, man. And I'm really curious to see what happens tonight. They're facing Toronto, who applies a lot of ball pressure to the point that even Sean Woodley is like, hey, maybe we could chill a little bit. And whenever Sean Woodley is critical, you know things are bad. But that ball pressure, I think, is going to be really interesting to watch versus this team, because the Pistons did that to them and wrecked them. Like, it was Reed Shepherd, it was Aaron Holiday, and it was Amen Thompson coming up and getting those high pickup points, pushing them into traps, and it was turnover. So I'm very curious to see what happens tonight with that. They need somebody who's going to settle them down. They are not settled at all offensively, and they've got too many weapons for this to be like this. Every possession feels scattered for Houston offensively. You got to be able to grind it out and slugfest in the playoffs. They need a guy. They need a point guard, I think, the most of those teams.
Yeah, I agree with that. Not just because the Houston Rockets are a team that I'm high on, but they absolutely need the right type of point guard fixes so much for Houston, because they have a lot. They have the defense. They have isolation scoring in Kevin Durant when they needed the most. They have the young up and comers as well. Alperen Sengun is going to be amazing, I think, this season for this team. But you need a point guard. You need somebody who can distribute the ball. You need someone to make that offense hum and to go. The way that I compare it is that you remember when the Nuggets added Chauncey Billups? He just helped that team go. That's what they need, somebody with that type of impact for this team. Not to say that they need a point guard that doesn't come in and be the best player, even, take the most shots, the top 3 shots on the team, but they just need somebody who can just make that system hum, and they're missing that, and it's evident every game that they play.
I think I agree with you guys. It's Houston. But if I were to make the case for Minnesota, this is a team that was in the Western Conference Finals the last 2 years in a row, just like the Rockets. You could argue they're in the thick of their window right now. And they are right now 27th in assist to turnover ratio. Mike Conley just looks done, right? Like, clearly they have moved on past him in terms of being a starting point guard. He started the other night because Anthony Edwards is out. They are not getting anything from Rob Dillingham. Bones Highland is getting minutes for this team. They're basically starting Dante DiVincenzo now just to get another ball handler on the floor, and that's not really his game in terms of being a primary initiator. Is there a case for Minnesota here, Matt?
No, you're out of your mind. Look, Anthony Edwards is going to handle the ball the majority of the time in the playoffs. I understand the desire to be like, hey, you need somebody who's going to kind of set the floor and get out of the way. Like there is a value in that. Dante DiVincenzo settling in. I like the way that he played the other night. Conley was actually really good versus the Nuggets. Like he was really good versus the Nuggets. He'll still have those nights when it's like, oh man, Conley. Yeah, he's close, right, to the end. It's like a Horford type of deal, but that doesn't mean that he's like washed and done. That is not the answer here. Jaden McDaniels is actually making a pretty good offensive leap. Look at the schedule here. That like it's okay. They lose to the Nuggets when they were up in the third and got beat by Tim Hardaway Jr. without Ant. And then it's like that Lakers game, which was just like a random, okay, whatever. Like I just tossed that one. I am not convinced that this Wolves team is in that much trouble. I think with Anthony Edwards fully healthy, this team is still in pretty good shape. I think they'll be better by the end of the season than they are right now. This is again, we talk about like learning process. They lose Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They're getting Terrence Shannon Jr. up to speed. They're adding these other guys. I think they're going to need to play Jalen Clark a little bit more. But I think they'll be fine by the end of the season.
Yeah, I think the Timberwolves are going to be fine. Anthony Edwards is too good. In this team, they'll find their path. So I get it. Like they do eventually need to figure that out, but I don't think that they need to hit the panic button for a point guard in the same way that Houston does. Houston's season and their playoff success may come down to their distribution and their ability to find a point guard. For Minnesota, either way, it's still going to come down to Anthony Edwards and his growth as a distributor, his growth as a shooter. So I think Houston still has the bigger need there.
None of us said Dallas, maybe in part because they literally have a point guard on the roster that they just aren't starting in D'Angelo Russell, and their offensive ratings are all better when D'Angelo Russell plays, and maybe eventually they'll see that piece of paper and make a decision to make a change to their starting lineup. But let's just say one of these teams did go out there and try to go get a point guard. That's the hard part here. Like, who's the point guard that's out there and available? Maybe not right now, but eventually.
Everyone loves the shooty hoops. Oh, Steph Curry, I love it when he shoots for 35 feet. This is what you get. We got the death of point guards who can actually run an offense. Congratulations. The point guard position is dead because everybody just wants to be LaMelo Ball, chucking him up from 35 feet. Like, this is what happens. We don't have anybody who can set the floor. We need more Chris Pauls because there's not enough. We need somebody like to be an adult in the room and be like, hey, why don't we get organized? Hey, don't worry. I can break the press. That's what we need. We don't need guys that will shoot from the logo. We need more point guards, and the lack of them right now is a real problem for these teams trying to get organized.
Thank God for Trey Jones on the Chicago Bulls is all I'll say.
Yeah, Tyus Jones, there's Trey Jones. Go find another Jones. We need more Holidayses, more Joneses. That's what this NBA needs. That's going to do it for us today. If you like what you heard, subscribe to Locked On NBA wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thanks to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making Locked On NBA your first listen. We're going to see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On NBA Daily.